We're going to start with the basics of making progressive overload in its 6 primary aspects. The 6 different types of progressive overload that you should be increasing from week to week or microcycle to microcycle at least one of are 1, the weight, 2, the reps, 3, the sets, 4, the RPE and RIR, 5, the technique and technical difficulty, and 6, auto-regulation. And while I've taught about the first 5 in depth throughout all of the 5 previous classes, the one that I haven't is auto-regulation. So just to clear that up, auto-regulation basically is a fancy word for personalization or customization. It is something that you do yourself using your mind-muscle connection in order to make the exercise harder in other ways that do not fit into the 5 previous categories by manipulating your training variables in a really fine-tuned manner. And while it may seem like this would fit into the previous category of technique and technical difficulty, it doesn't, because these are too highly personal. Alright, so these are aspects of your exercise that you're able to figure out for yourself and what feels right to you using your mind-muscle connection, and seeing what gives you the best pump, the best burn, makes you the most sore, and is getting you the best gains over time, and just feels best and hardest. Okay, and they're things that are so personalized that it's something a trainer cannot tell you. Alright, that is why it's called auto-regulation. Auto means self. Alright, so these are things that you're going to figure out for your body, and a trainer would not be able to write them down when programming your exercise and teaching you form and technique. They're things that you would figure out on your own in your fitness journey, such as adding isometrics or increasing your time under tension, optimizing resistance curves, altering your angle slightly, especially when using cables, slowing down or speeding up, shortening your rest times between sets, adjusting and calibrating certain aspects of your physical position and your body language, and certain ways that you will figure out to master certain pieces of equipment to make it highly effective, as you will be able to do as you use it more and more. For instance, with cables and optimizing resistance curves, or for something more esoteric, using resistance bands, and finding that you are not ready to go up to the next level of weight yet, but you can still increase the weight more slightly, and instead of adding 10 pounds to it, adding 5 by simply stretching the band out more. Or for instance, instead of using a 50-pound band, using a 20 and 30 together is actually even harder. So there's certain aspects of using the equipment that can only be mastered through time and practice and auto-regulation. Alright, but again, basically this is anything that helps you to increase the pump and make the exercise harder, that you will figure out with your own body through mastering your exercises. So that is what auto-regulation is all about. And basically when it comes to making progressive overload in these 6 types of ways, every week, every exercise, or almost every exercise, should increase in at least one of these ways, oftentimes more. Except for those cases where you've already been doing progressive overload for a handful of weeks, and certain exercises you're starting to feel as though you are approaching your max effort with, or maybe you are struggling with them. You may take a week to just keep it the same, but generally speaking, every exercise should increase by at least one of these ways in every microcycle. And thus, all of these factors should steadily increase in different amounts over the course of your block of progressive overload until you have maxed out all of them and the total volume and intensity that you can recover from, having reached your MRV. And then after training to and past failure for a week or so, you are going to stop progressive overload and pull it way back and do a deload week. And then you can do even more progressive overload in the next block, and more in the next, and even more in the next, and so on and so forth, keeping everything moving on the up and up, looking as much like this graph as possible. Seems pretty simple and straightforward, right? Well, no, not really. Obviously, there is so much more to it than that, and I'm not talking about things in a reductionistic type of manner in this course.